Hello. I was lying awake in bed at 4:07 in the morning when I heard the front door open. By then, it was not anything new. My wife, Hannah, had been coming home later and later for months. First it was midnight, then it turned into 1 in the morning, then 2. But 4? That was a brand new milestone. Her heels clacked across the hardwood, the sound of someone trying to walk quietly and failing. A moment later the bathroom light clicked on, water ran, and then she slipped into bed beside me, turning her back like she always did. I waited about 30 seconds before I spoke. Where were you? Just those 3 words. No anger behind them. No accusations. Just a simple question any husband could ask. She froze. Then she rolled over, and even in the darkness I could see her face twist into something hard and mean. Are you serious right now? She snapped. You are really going to start interrogating me the second I walk in the door? I just asked where you were, I said. This is exactly what I am talking about, she shot back, sitting upright and waving her hands. You are unbelievably clingy. I cannot breathe in this marriage. I go out with friends for a few hours, and you act like I am out committing a crime. A few hours. It was 4 in the morning. I need space, she continued, her voice rising. I need to live my life without you monitoring every little thing I do. This is suffocating. I stared at her for a long moment. 8 years of marriage. 8 years of being the steady one, the provider, the guy who kept everything running. And now, after all of that, I was suddenly the problem for asking why my wife came home at 4 in the morning. Something clicked off inside me, like a switch shutting down. All right, I said. She blinked. What? You need space. I get it. She looked thrown off by how calm I was. She had walked into the room loaded for a fight, probably expecting yelling, tears, maybe even begging. Instead, I turned over and closed my eyes. That is it, she asked, stunned. That is it. Good night. I could feel her staring at me in the dark, trying to figure out what had changed. Eventually she huffed, turned over, and about 20 minutes later her breathing settled into that rhythm she had when she was sound asleep. I waited another 10 minutes to be sure. Then I got up. I moved through the house like I had already practiced it. Truth was, I had, at least in my mind, for weeks. Once I realized where our marriage was heading, I started preparing. I grabbed my old duffel bag from the garage and filled it. Clothes, documents, my laptop, the handful of things that actually meant something to me. Everything I cared about fit into 2 bags and a backpack. I opened the banking app on my phone and moved my half of our shared money into the personal account I had quietly opened 3 weeks earlier. I took screenshots of every transfer, every message, every late night she lied to me about. Not for revenge, just documentation. By 5:30, the sky was still nothing but darkness. I loaded the truck quietly, walked back inside one last time, and stood in the doorway of our bedroom. She looked peaceful, completely unaware that her husband was about to disappear from her life. I placed my wedding ring on the kitchen counter. No note, no explanation. She wanted space, and she was about to have more than she ever imagined. By 6 o'clock, I was heading west on the highway. I had already arranged a transfer through my company 2 weeks earlier, and they approved it without hesitation. They were actually excited to have me at the branch 3 states over. I had a rental house waiting for me, found it online, signed everything digitally. I had been planning this exit for a while, just needed a moment that felt right. She said she wanted space. Well, the whole house, the whole city, the whole life we had built together. She could keep all of it. I was finished. Around 9 in the morning, the call started. Her name lit up my screen. I watched it ring and switched my phone to silent. 14 more calls came in over the next hour. Then the text messages poured in. Where are you? This is not funny. We need to talk. Please call me. I am sorry. Just come home. I did not read past the first few. At a gas station 2 states away, I blocked her number. Then I blocked her on every single platform, social media, messaging apps, all of it. I even blocked her family and friends. Anyone who could tie me back to her. She wanted space. She was getting permanent space. I kept driving. By sunset, I crossed into my new state and felt lighter than I had in years. No more wondering where she was. No more excuses. No more being told I was clingy for expecting the bare minimum in a marriage. I pulled into the driveway of my new place around 8 in the evening. Small house, nothing fancy, but it belonged to me now. I unloaded the truck, set up my laptop, and sent an email to the lawyer I had saved weeks earlier. Subject line: Divorce proceedings, uncontested. Then I cracked open a beer, sat on the back porch, and watched the stars slowly come alive. She wanted space. She got it. And I got my life back. The best part? She had no idea where I was. And I planned to keep it that way. 3 months into my new life, I finally started to feel like a real human being again. The job was steady and straightforward, nothing complicated. My boss, Franklin Spears, was the kind of man who appreciated effort more than excuses. If you showed up, did the work, and did not drag drama through the door, he treated you with respect. That was exactly what I needed. The team here was smaller, which suited me just fine. Less politics, fewer loud personalities, more actual work getting done. I had furnished my little rental house with the bare essentials, a used couch that did the job, a bed that did not wreck my back, and a coffee maker that worked better than the overpriced one I left behind. I was not trying to impress anyone. It was simply my space, and having a place that felt like mine was a good feeling. Every now and then, my phone would buzz with a call from a number I did not recognize. I would check the voicemail, hear my ex-wife Hannah's voice for 3 seconds, and delete it without hesitation. She tried having her sister reach out. Her mother left a message calling me immature. I blocked every single one of them. My lawyer handled everything on his end. Since she could not track me down to serve papers the normal way, he filed what he called divorce by publication. They put a notice in the legal section of the newspaper from our old city. She had 60 days to respond. She did respond, and she contested everything. She wanted alimony. She wanted half my retirement. She wanted my truck. My lawyer shut that down immediately. 8 years of marriage, no children, and she held a job the entire time. The judge did not have much patience for a woman who could not even show up on time to her own court hearings. By the end of month 4, the divorce was final. I kept my truck. My retirement stayed untouched. We split the equity in the house right down the middle, and she had to refinance the mortgage to buy out my portion. I signed the documents digitally and moved on without a second thought. I picked up a habit of going to the gym at 5 in the morning before work. Not to impress anyone or turn into a bodybuilder. I just liked having a routine that belonged solely to me. There was an older man there, had to be in his 60s, who nodded at me every morning. We never spoke until one day he walked over and broke the silence. "You seem lighter lately," he said while I was wiping down a bench. "Yeah," I answered. "Whatever you dropped," he said. "It must have been heavy." I just nodded. He understood without needing the whole story. Work kept me busy, which helped. I volunteered for extra tasks, the ones nobody else wanted. It was not about proving myself. It just felt better to stay occupied than to sit at home thinking. Around month 5, I met Tanner Blake. He was a consultant the company brought in for a supply chain audit. Practical guy, no unnecessary chatter, which I appreciated. After a project meeting, we grabbed lunch to go over a few technical points. "You are not originally from around here," he said. It was not even a question. "Moved a few months back," I replied. "Fresh start." Something like that. He nodded and steered the conversation back to work. I respected that. By the 6th month, my life had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Work, gym, the occasional lunch with Tanner or the guys from the warehouse. On weekends, I drove out to a nearby state park and walked one of the trails. Nothing extreme, just enough quiet to clear my head. I did not date. I was not interested. The idea of explaining my situation to another person felt exhausting. Like lifting a weight I had no reason to carry. I was perfectly fine on my own. Around month 7, my ex made one last attempt. A letter arrived at my workplace. I still do not know how she found the address. It was 3 pages long, handwritten. She went on and on about how she realized she had made a mistake, how she wished she could fix things, how I had left without giving her a chance to explain. I read the first paragraph. Then I slid the entire letter into the office shredder. She had multiple chances to explain, starting with the night she walked in at 4 in the morning and called me clingy for simply asking where she had been. She made her choices. I made mine. And the truth was, I was not angry anymore. Anger burns energy, and I had better uses for mine. The woman I married either never existed, or she had turned into a stranger somewhere along the way. Either way, she was not my responsibility anymore. One Friday night after work, I stopped at a small diner near my house. It was nothing fancy, just good burgers and fries. The waitress looked like she was in her 50s, the kind of woman who had seen every kind of person walk through her doors. "You come in here a lot," she said as she poured my coffee. The food is good, I said. And I like this spot. You always sit in the same place, she teased. Always order the same thing. Creature of habit. Is that bad? I asked. She smiled. Honey, after the chaos most folks bring in here, a little routine is refreshing. I left her a good tip. There was something comforting about sitting in a place where no one wanted anything from me and nothing came with strings attached. By the time month 9 rolled around, something strange hit me. I realized I had not thought about my ex-wife in weeks. Not because I was forcing myself to forget her, but because my mind had simply moved on. She felt like an old job I had walked away from. Sure, every now and then you remember the place, but mostly you are just grateful you were somewhere better. I bought a grill for the back porch and started learning how to cook real food instead of living on takeout. Turns out, I was not half bad at it. There was something calming about following steps, adjusting the heat, getting the timing right. It gave me control over little things, and those small wins added up. My life was not particularly exciting, but it was steady. And after years of living inside chaos that pretended to be a marriage, steady felt like winning the lottery. About 18 months after I left, I met Lauren. There was nothing dramatic or cinematic about it. No spilled coffee or bumping into each other on a rainy sidewalk. We were simply assigned to the same project at work. Our company partnered with a technology firm to rebuild their distribution network, and she was their logistics coordinator. At the first meeting, she walked in 10 minutes early with a binder full of data and a stack of questions that actually made sense. No small talk, no forced friendliness, just straight to the point. Your report from last quarter, she said, sliding a printed sheet toward me. You found the bottleneck at the Memphis hub. That saved us a lot of money. Just doing my job, I said. Most people do not, she replied. Most people just pretend they are busy. She opened her binder. Let us figure out the West Coast problems next. For 3 months, we worked side by side on that project. She was never unprepared. Every deadline was met. Whenever issues popped up, she sent me messages that were clear and calm. Here is the issue. Here is what I am considering. What do you think? No drama. No excuses. It was refreshing. One evening we stayed late, trying to finish a presentation for the executives. Everyone else had gone home. The only sounds were the hum of the air system and our keyboards. You want coffee? She asked, stretching her arms. Sure. She came back with 2 cheap styrofoam cups. It tasted terrible, but it was hot and packed with caffeine. You are different from most people here, she said, sitting down again. How so? You do not complain. You do not blame other people. You just fix what needs fixing. I shrugged. Complaining does not solve anything. Exactly, she said. But most people still try it anyway. We finished the presentation around 8 in the evening. As we were packing up, she mentioned she was starving. There is a solid sandwich place 2 blocks away, I said. Still open. She raised an eyebrow. Are you asking me to dinner? I am mentioning a place with food, I said. She smirked. Smooth. Come on. The place was called Betty's. Old-fashioned spot. Been there for decades. We ordered at the counter and took the table by the window. So, she said, unwrapping her sandwich. You are going to make me ask, are you not? Ask what? Why a guy who is clearly good at his job, dependable, and not a complete pain to spend time with, is sitting alone eating sandwiches on a Tuesday night. Maybe I like sandwiches. Maybe, she said, studying me. Or maybe you are avoiding something. I took a slow bite, thinking. I am not avoiding anything, I said. I am just not searching for anything either. Fair enough. She did not push me. She never did. That became our pattern. Project meetings turned into working dinners. Working dinners turned into actual dinners that had nothing to do with spreadsheets or deadlines. She never poked at my past or tried to drag anything out of me. We simply existed in each other's space easily. 3 months into knowing her, we were at Betty's again. She was telling me about her sister's upcoming wedding and how she dreaded being part of the bridal party. The dress is awful, she said. I mean, truly offensive. It cannot be that bad. She pulled out her phone. The dress was bright purple with layers of ruffles. Okay, I said. That is pretty bad. Thank you, she said. Everyone keeps acting like it is fine. It is not fine. It is a crime. I actually laughed. Really laughed. The kind of laugh that feels like it comes from a place you forgot existed. You should come, she said suddenly, putting her phone away. To the wedding. To the wedding? I repeated. Yeah, come suffer through the dress with me. At least the food is supposed to be good. I do not know your sister. You know me, she said simply. That is enough. She hesitated. Unless you are not interested. That is okay too. I am just putting it out there. I looked at her, really looked. She was not trying to manipulate me or test me. She was just being honest about what she wanted. When is it? I asked. Next month. April 20th. I will check my schedule. That is not a no. That is not a no, I agreed. The wedding was actually pretty good. The dress was every bit as awful as she warned, but Lauren joked about it all night, which made it easier to tolerate. Her sister seemed genuinely kind. The groom was a normal guy. It felt like being around people who were healthy. At the reception, Lauren grabbed my hand and pulled me onto the dance floor. I have never been much of a dancer, but Lauren did not care. She laughed and told me, "You are thinking too hard. Just move." I am moving, I said. You are counting steps in your head. I can see it on your face. How do you know that? Because you look like a man trying to solve a math problem. So I stopped trying to look like I knew what I was doing and just let myself go with it. She smiled at me. There you go, she said. Much better. Later that night, she drove me back to my place. When she parked at the curb, neither one of us reached for the door handle right away. We just sat there. I like spending time with you, she said quietly. I like spending time with you too. But, I started. She raised an eyebrow. But what? I want to be straight with you. I am not great at this relationship stuff. My history in that department is not exactly impressive. Nobody's history is impressive, she said. That is why they call it a history. It is what you learn from it that matters. She turned in her seat to face me fully. Look, I am not asking you to define anything right now. I am just asking if you want to see where this could go. No pressure. No deadlines. Just see. I thought about all the moments with her, how easy everything felt, how she never made me feel like I had to perform or explain myself, how she said what she meant and kept her promises without making it complicated. Yeah, I said softly. I want to see where this goes. Good, she said with a grin. Now get out of my car so I can go home and get this horrible dress off. I laughed again. It was becoming a regular thing when she was around. 6 months passed, and we were still seeing where it went. And it was going well. No games. No confusion. Just two people building something steady and honest. It felt nothing like my marriage, and that was exactly why it worked. 2.5 years after I walked away from my old life, I found myself standing inside a jewelry store, more nervous than I had been in a long time. The woman behind the counter watched me stare at the rings like they might jump up and bite. What is her style? She asked gently. Simple, I said. She does not like flashy things. Does she wear much jewelry? She wears a silver watch and these small earrings. Nothing extravagant. The woman nodded and pulled out a tray of rings that matched what I described. One of them caught my attention immediately. White gold, a single stone, clean lines, not trying too hard. That one, I said. Excellent choice, she replied. Elegant, but understated. I paid for it, had it sized, and walked out feeling like I had just made one of the biggest decisions of my entire life. And honestly, I had. Lauren and I had been together for a year by then. A full year of showing up for each other, being honest, dealing with hard moments without trying to win or score points. I had told her everything about my past, the late nights, the 4 in the morning moment, the way I packed my bags and left. She did not judge me for any of it. You did what you needed to do, she said. Protecting yourself is not wrong. That was when I knew she understood something most people never do. That having boundaries was not cruel, that choosing yourself was not selfish, and that walking away from something toxic was not quitting, it was surviving. I intended to propose somewhere meaningful, maybe during a hike, maybe at Betty's, where we had our first real dinner that had nothing to do with work. But as life tends to go, plans changed. It happened on a random Tuesday night. She was at my place helping me put together a bookshelf I ordered online. The instructions were awful, and we had been struggling with the same step for nearly an hour. This piece does not go here, she said, holding up a wooden board that looked like it came from a completely different set. According to the instructions, it does, I said. The instructions are lying. I laughed. Give it here. She handed it over, and I sat back on the floor trying to make sense of it. After a frustrated attempt, I realized she was right. Told you, she said, smug but cute about it. That diagram is garbage. She was wearing sweatpants and one of my old work shirts, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup, no pretending, just herself, comfortable, present, real. I put the bookshelf piece down. I have something for you, I said. If it is a better instruction manual, I will be impressed. I went to my desk drawer, pulled out the small ring box I had hidden there, and sat down next to her. Her eyes went straight to the box, then back to me. Are you serious right now? She whispered. Very serious. We are literally building a bookshelf. I noticed. She laughed, but her eyes were starting to shine. This is probably the least romantic setup in history, I said, but it is honest. And that is us. No big show. No pretending. Just two people on the floor trying to figure things out together. And I want to keep doing that for as long as you will let me. She stared at the ring, then at me. You are sure about this? She asked softly. After everything you went through? I am sure about you, I said. That is different. She wiped her eyes. It is perfect. The ring is perfect. This whole ridiculous moment is perfect. So, is that a yes? Yes, you idiot. Obviously yes. I slid the ring onto her finger. It fit just right, just like everything else with her. We never finished the bookshelf that night. Instead, we sat on the floor for another hour talking about what came next. She wanted a small wedding with just immediate family. So did I. We agreed we would do it in 6 months. We did not plan anything extravagant for the wedding. No huge crowds, no show, nothing fancy. Just honest and straightforward, the way Lauren and I were built. When we talked about our family's meeting, she grinned and said, My dad will appreciate that you are genuine. My mom will appreciate that you make me happy. That is the goal, I told her. The next few months were busy in the best way. We found a small venue, circled a date, and kept the guest list under 30 people. Her family welcomed me with open arms. They did not pry into my past or ask uncomfortable questions. They simply accepted that I was important to Lauren, and that was enough for them. My own family was smaller. My brother made the trip out, and so did my parents. They had been worried about me after everything that happened, but watching me with Lauren eased that weight off their shoulders. She is good for you, my mom said the night before the wedding. You smile more now. I guess I do, I said. My mom shook her head a little. I tried to like your ex-wife, I really did. But something always felt off. I am glad that is behind you. You deserve someone who actually shows up. The wedding took place on a Saturday in October. Cool air, bright sun, perfect weather. Lauren wore a simple gown. Nothing like that terrible purple disaster from her sister's wedding. I bought a suit just for the day. It was not fancy, but it fit right, and that was all I needed. When Lauren walked down the aisle, I felt something I never once experienced in my first marriage. It was not nervous excitement pretending to be happiness. It was certainty, clear and solid. The ceremony was short. We wrote our own vows, kept them honest. No impossible promises, no over-the-top poetic lines. Just commitments about being truthful, showing up, and respecting each other. When the officiant told me to kiss my wife, I did, and for the first time in my life it actually felt like a beginning, not a mistake I was too stubborn to acknowledge. At the reception, Tanner walked over with a beer in hand. Never thought I would see you voluntarily wearing a suit, he teased. It is a special day. She is great, he said. You two fit. Thanks for being here, I said. Would not have missed it. He tapped his beer against mine. To figuring life out. To figuring it out, I said. Later that evening, after most of the guests had gone home, Lauren and I stood outside the venue under a sky full of stars. We did it, she said softly. We did. No drama, she said. No chaos. Just a good day. The best day, I answered. She leaned her head against me. Think we can keep doing this? The whole showing up and being honest thing? I think we have a pretty strong track record so far. Good, she whispered. Because I am in this for the long run. So am I said. We stayed there for a while, not rushing anything. Just standing together, feeling the moment without any need to question it. No games. No tests. No wondering what the other person secretly wanted. Just two people choosing each other and meaning it. That was what marriage should feel like. And finally, it did. 3 years to the day after I walked away from my old life, I was at a work conference 2 states over. Close enough to where I used to live that it felt strange, but far enough that I was not worried about running into anyone. The conference was the usual corporate event. Presentations, networking, predictable lunches. I gave my talk early that morning and had the rest of the day wide open. Lauren stayed home because she had deadlines of her own. Around 6 in the evening, I went to a casual steakhouse near the hotel. Nothing upscale, just a place the hotel staff recommended. I was looking forward to a quiet meal and an early night. I had just started reading the menu when I heard a laugh. A very specific laugh. One I had tried for years to forget. 8 years of marriage will brand certain sounds into your mind whether you want them there or not. I looked up. 3 tables away, facing the opposite direction, was Hannah, my ex-wife. She sat with 2 other women, friends, I assumed. She looked thinner than I remembered, with different hair, but it was definitely her. My first instinct was to leave immediately, pay for the water I had barely touched, and walk straight out. But then I stopped myself. Why should I leave? I had done nothing wrong. This was simply a restaurant, and I had just as much right to be there as she did. So I stayed. The waitress came by, and I ordered in a low voice. Hannah still had not noticed me, and I wanted to keep it that way. While I waited, I pulled out my phone and sent Lauren a text. "You will not believe who is 3 tables away from me." Lauren replied almost instantly. "Want me to call you so you have an excuse to leave?" "No, I am fine. Just strange timing. Love you. Call if you need me." "Love you too." I set the phone down and focused on my meal when it arrived. The steak was good, surprisingly good. I was nearly finished when I saw Hannah stand up to go to the restroom. She had to walk past me. This was the moment I had imagined and stopped imagining countless times. She was looking at her phone while she walked, not paying attention. Then she glanced up and froze in place. Her expression shifted through a handful of emotions in a matter of seconds. Shock, confusion, something that looked like hope, then something else I could not name. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi." Silence settled between us. She stared at my left hand, the wedding ring. A ring that definitely was not the one she once gave me. "You are married," she said softly. "I am." "How long?" "For months." I watched her do the math in her head. 3 years since I left. I probably started dating Lauren around 18 months after that. It all added up. "Congratulations," she said, though the words sounded hollow. "Thank you." More silence. Her friends were watching her from their table, whispering to each other. "I tried to find you," she said quietly. "For months. You just vanished." "You wanted space," I said. "And I gave it to you." "That is not what I meant," she said, her voice tightening. "And you know that." I set my fork down and looked her straight in the eyes. "What did you mean then?" I asked. "Because at 4 in the morning, when I asked where you had been, you called me clingy. You said you could not breathe. Those were your exact words." She flinched like the memory physically hit her. "I was angry," Hannah said quietly. "People say things when they are angry." "That is true," I replied. "And I heard exactly what you said." "I did not mean I wanted you gone forever," she insisted. "I did not mean divorce." "Then what did you mean?" I asked. Because from where I was standing, asking where my wife was at 4 in the morning was not clingy. It was basic. She lowered her eyes. "I made mistakes." "You did," I said. "And you could not forgive yourself for them." "That is not on me." I leaned back in my chair. "Forgiveness is not the point," I said. "You and I wanted 2 completely different lives. You wanted freedom without questions. I wanted a partner who came home at reasonable hours and did not call me insane for caring. Those 2 things do not work together." She swallowed hard. "I could have changed. Maybe." "Maybe," I said. But I was not interested in waiting years to find out. Tears formed in her eyes. "So that is it. You just moved on like I never mattered?" "You mattered for 8 years," I told her. "You mattered a lot. But someone can matter and still not be the right person." "And this new woman," she asked, "she is right for you? She shows up when she says she will?" I answered. "She does not play games. She respects me. So yes, she is right for me." Hannah stood there, opening her mouth like she wanted to keep arguing, but nothing came out. There was nothing left to say. I was not angry. I was not happy. I was simply done. "I hope she makes you happy," she finally said. "She does." "I hope you never make her feel the way you made me feel," she whispered. That almost made me laugh, not out of cruelty, but because the statement was so backwards it barely made sense. "The way I made you feel," I said. I asked one question. "You were the one who stayed out until 4 in the morning and then acted like I was the problem." She shut her mouth and had nothing to offer back. "Take care of yourself," I told her. Not warm, not harsh, just neutral. She turned and walked toward the restroom. I watched her go and felt absolutely nothing. No heat in my chest, no hurt, no pride. Just nothing. Her friends kept sneaking glances at me until she returned. When she sat back down with them, they paid their bill and left. She did not look my direction again. I finished eating, tipped the waitress well, and went back to my hotel. That night, I called Lauren. "How did it go?" she asked. "It was fine," I said. "Strange, but fine." "Did she freak out?" "A little. She saw the ring." "Good," Lauren said. "She should know you are taken." I smiled. "You make me happy, even if I have to put up with your terrible bookshelf building skills." "That was one time," she protested. "One very memorable time. We talked for nearly an hour about nothing important. Her day, my presentation, what we would do when I got home. Just normal conversation between two people who actually enjoyed each other. After we hung up, I sat on the edge of the bed thinking about my run-in with Hannah. 3 years earlier, seeing her would have sparked something inside me. Anger, pain, regret, confusion, anything. Now, nothing. She was simply someone I used to know. Someone who taught me what I did not want in a partner. And honestly, I was grateful for that lesson, because knowing what you do not want makes it much easier to recognize what you do want when it shows up. I flew home the next morning. Lauren picked me up at the airport, kissed me right there in arrivals like it was nothing. "Miss me?" she asked. "Every day," I said. "Good answer. Let us go home." And we did. Back to the life we had built. A life based on honesty, showing up, and actually meaning the promises we made. Somewhere out there, my ex-wife was probably still trying to figure out where things went wrong. But explaining it to her was no longer my responsibility. I was done with that chapter for good. 6 months after the restaurant encounter, Lauren and I were sitting on our back porch watching the sun dip behind the trees. "I got something in the mail today," she said, handing me an envelope. It was from a law firm I had never heard of. Inside was a single document, final release paperwork for the last shared asset from my first marriage. A small rental property that had been tied up in legal complications for years. It had finally sold. My portion of the money had been deposited. Every legal tie to my past life had officially been cut. "That is it," Lauren said softly. "Completely finished." "Completely finished," I echoed. She squeezed my hand. "How does it feel?" "It feels like closing a book I should have put down years ago." "Any regrets?" I thought about it. The 4 in the morning moment, the silent drive across state lines, the 3 years I spent rebuilding myself piece by piece. "No," I said. "Not one." My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. It was her sister. "She has been asking about you. Wanted to know if there was any chance." I told her to move on. "Just thought you should know she finally accepted it. Take care." I showed the message to Lauren. "You going to respond?" she asked. "No," I said. "There is nothing left to say." I blocked the number and put my phone away. Lauren leaned against me. "You know what I love about you." "What is that?" "You do not do things halfway. When you are done, you are done. And when you are committed, you are all in." "Is that a compliment?" "It is the biggest compliment I have," she said. We sat there as the sky shifted from orange to purple to deep blue. Inside the house, dinner waited. A normal life. A good life. 3 years earlier, when I drove away from chaos, some people said I gave up too easily or did not fight hard enough for my marriage. But they were wrong. I had tried. 8 years of trying. I stayed through late nights, flimsy excuses, and being called clingy for wanting the bare minimum. I gave chance after chance until there was nothing left to give. Walking away was not weakness. It was the strongest thing I had ever done. And sitting there with Lauren, someone who showed up, who meant her words, who respected me the same way I respected her, I knew without a doubt I made the right choice. "My ex-wife wanted space that night," I said quietly. "And she got it. Permanent space." "And you got your life back," Lauren said. "I really did," I said. "And I have never been happier." She stood up. "Come on. Dinner is getting cold." "Right behind you," I said, following her inside. I closed the door behind us, on the past, on the pain, on everything that came before, and stepped into the future I built. One decision at a time. One boundary at a time. One day at a time. Exactly where I was supposed to be. Bye.